10 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining.
Okay guys, hello and welcome back to the Boston Major Southeast Asian qualifiers. We are here for, I would say, one of the highlighted games of the tournament, and I think up until this point this might be the most hyped game of the entire Southeast Asian qualifiers, or at least during the round robin stages. Now quickly, before anyone may get a little bit confused, for people that may be new coming into the qualifiers that are watching it in the client on one of the streams, welcome. Currently, this is one of the most anticipated games simply because Faceless and Mineski have come out of the round robins with 0 losses. Faceless currently sitting at 7 victories and 0 losses, whereas Mineski currently sitting at 6 wins and 0 losses. So both of these teams, they are showing that they are capable of coming out of the round robin stages practically untouchable. They're both in the green, so they are definitely going on through to the second round. Whereas for third and fourth place, third at the moment is currently Fnatic. Fourth place is tied between TNC and Warriors Gaming for some reason. I think this might be wrong. I will double check in this a little bit later. But for the most part, let's get back onto this game here with Faceless and Mineski. So this is going to be Faceless's last game. They've played everyone else aside Mineski up until this point. As for Mineski, I believe they have one more game after this, which is, let me just double check for you guys. Up against, I think I'm looking at the wrong thing. RRQ. So I think they've got one more game which is up against RRQ, which I will be honest, they'll probably win it. So if they played RRQ before this, then it would literally be both teams sitting at 7 wins and 0 losses. So this is the game of kings. This is who is going to topple the other Titan. So guys, if you're hyped as I am, let's get right into it. So firstly, we're going to start off with an OD and Batrider ban coming up from Faceless, whereas for Mineski, they get rid of the Undying as well as the Nyx Assassin. Whereas the first pick here for Mineski ends up being the Warlock. We've seen a lot of teams pick this up, and this is pretty much a comfort pick. He's a great secondary support for the safe lane. Decent kill potential. He also has access to fatal bonds, which, especially if it's going to be 3 versus 3 scenarios, you do not want to play against a Warlock because you will be taking the damage distribution, and you have an amazing disengage with the Rock, which is BKB. That's the added bonus. So that spell is always relevant as long as you use it as some sort of disengage. And you also have a great skill set for just disrupting people in general. So Mineski going to be very comfortable being able to pick up the Warlock first. Faceless, in the meantime, they're going to pick up the Ogre Magi as well as the Timbersaw, so putting Ice on the Timbersaw yet again. We have seen him play this yesterday, and he is possibly going to be a monster, and I'm sort of wondering, does Mineski deal with Ice, or do they play their own game? Because when it comes to drafting, teams have to decide whether they decide to play their own game or if they decide to draft reactively to what the other team has picked. And from what I've seen so far, Faceless, they almost never played reactively, or at least drafted reactively. They always pick heroes that they're comfortable with, and it's worked up until this point. So I don't see this changing. Whereas for Mineski, they may be a little bit more reactive just because that's the nature of Mineski, especially going up against someone like Faceless. They may have to change things up a little bit. Luckily for them, they will be picking up comfort heroes. They have picked up the Slaughter on the side of Mineski. This is a great hero when it comes to at least mitigating some of the bonus armor that's going to be applied by the reactive armor on the Timbersaw. And also, Slaughter, he's a great hero overall as well. If he gets early levels, he's able to pressure heroes out of their lane, even if it's a carry, can grab kills with the support, and as the game goes later and later, amplified damage is going to help heroes scale earlier and later, just because you're going to be able to hit harder than normal. And I think I've seen this story before here for Faceless. They're going to pick up the Crystal Maiden as the bonus aura bot for the first laning phase, which means everyone's going to have spells to spam. She's going to be a great hero if they have issues with the laning phase, because that means she's also going to be able to jungle. And especially with all the disables, she's going to be great for at least being a nuisance with just throwing down the Nova, getting a frostbite onto someone that could be trying to either jump on her or to get away. Or if Mineski picks up a jungler, you can bite the creep and that creep is pretty much done for. So to a certain degree, Crystal Maiden's more or less an anti-jungler just because she's able to bite the creeps, and you know, you can't really do anything out of it. No one comes into a wall with, you know, a chisel. Second phases of bans, so Lifestealer and Jug, they're getting rid of all these magic immune heroes, and it makes sense because Faceless, they're drafting very, very magic oriented. They're relying a lot on the disables from their supports, so getting rid of Jug as well as Lifestealer, very smart bans coming up from Faceless. Mineski, in the meantime, they get rid of Tinker as well as the Alchemist, so no Alchemist shenanigans here for Faceless, and no Tinker as well. Global presence can really be a pain in the backside, especially when you're running a warlock. You really don't want to peel anyone away from the group because you are strongest together instead of trying to go for this sort of split push style that we occasionally see. Teamfight has been the way to go for most teams lately though, and it just fits the scenario here for warlock. And Mineski going to be grabbing one of the powerhouse heroes that hasn't been banned yet, the Drow Ranger. Now, Faceless, they have Timbersaw, who can reasonably deal with a Drow Ranger, but for Mineski, they may have to pick up something as a sort of backup insurance to protect the Drow if anything goes wrong. So we may see something like a Vengeful Spirit, we may see a Oracle, we may see a Dazzle, something that has some sort of defensive mechanism to keep the Drow alive, or they may not even go for anything at all and hope that their Warlock is going to be enough to keep the Drow alive. Because the one solution Drow has is the Hurricane Pike, and practically every Drow in the meta picks it up. So it makes sense that if they don't pick someone to save the Drow, they still have an item that's going to be able to fulfill that role. And excuse me guys, I think I was looking at something wrong. Jeez, I was looking at the reserve time. I was like, why did it stop? And I was like, wait a minute, that's Mineski's reserve time. Pay more attention, Danny. Not done a very good job of it. So for Faceless, they've only picked up one core so far, which is the Timbersaw. Now they need something that's also going to be able to deal with the Drow, and this is where a Phantom Assassin is going to come in super handy. She has a gap closer. Another hero similar to Phantom Assassin is the Slark. He also has the Pounce that can jump on top of the Drow. But for Faceless, they're going for the Phantom Assassin instead, because during the laning phase, Phantom Assassin is going to be able to spam out the daggers because they have the Crystal Maiden aura. So whoever's in the Phantom Assassin's lane is going to have a very, very annoying time because the harassment is going to be consistent every single time. Unless Mineski decides to go for an aggressive tri-lane to maybe pressure the PA if the PA ends up being in the safe lane. Now, this is not to say that PA can't be in the mid lane. She can absolutely be in the mid lane, but it depends on what Faceless decide to go for their last pick, because as of now, they've got the Timbersaw as their main tempo controller while the PA gets the initial farm. They need something else to initiate outside of that Timbersaw. Something that either initiates or something with some sort of spell that can initiate and disengage at the same time, while also being able to coordinate with the PA and Timbersaw. But there's really not that many options left. Witch Doctor banned for Faceless because they know Mineski needs another support to defend the Drow. Interestingly enough, they did ban the Witch Doctor. Would have been a great one for pushers. Slark banned for Mineski, so that would just to be sure, they ban out that Slark because there's not two heroes with some sort of gap closer to jump on the Drow. So Mineski, what is this final hero that's going to potentially save this Drow? Mineski actually used to run Slaughter in the support role occasionally, but in this game I really don't think they can afford to, because they're running both a Drow and a Storm Spirit, heroes that both need items and levels during the laning stage. Got 5 seconds left on the clock. What does Mineski pick up last? They pick up a Disruptor. I really like this pickup actually. Glimpse is going to be amazing for chasing down the Timbersaw when he tries to zip around all over the place. We'll also be able to chase down the Phantom Assassin, so even the Blink won't be that useful. And also the Static Storm is going to be amazing for their whole team. Everyone on the side of Faceless, they're everyone aside from the Timbersaw is not necessarily that tanky. So if they get caught in the disruptor static storm into to field combo, that might just be the end of Faceless's team. And they don't have anyone that normally builds into some sort of sustain, so maybe they have to go back and pick up someone that can build a mech. Maybe go back to something like a Razor that would also be able to contest the mid lane. But then again, Razor's really not the best. And you really don't want to pick up anything like a Viper. They're going to go for T8 instead. So, it's not going to be a Slark, but it will be a possible blinking TA. And TA is actually going to be quite difficult for Mineski to deal with because they don't really have that many spells that are going to be able to push shields quickly. They don't have the Jakiro Fire, they don't have a Venomancer Gale. So breaking through Jab's Refraction might be a little bit of a difficulty here for Mineski, but that's not to say everything can't be solved. A lot of faith into Miracle to grabbing that the Hurricane Pike early enough so that he's able to at least keep himself safe and kited away from both, or not even both, it's all of these possibly mobile heroes on the side of Faceless, the Timbersaw, PA, and Polar Assassin. At this rate, may as well just rename your team to Faceless Assassins, because they've got 2 assassins. But, makes sense. Alright guys, we're going to be moving into the game here. This is going to be one of the most anticipated games of the day. Mineski versus Faceless. Guys, I hope you're ready like I am. Everyone is legitimately lined up perfectly, so let's do a quick team introduction here. On the side of Faceless, we have Ice on the Timbersaw, Black on the Phantom Assassin, rocking the Eternal Envy set. We have XY, going to be on the Ogre Magi, Jabs on the Templar Assassin, and finally, I'm missing somebody. Might believe it's Nuts here, this little lady, Crystal Maiden, wanting to get some wards down, trying to at least feint a ward on the side of Faceless for the Dire. Mineski, who's going to be on the Radiant side for today. We have RR on the Slaughter. In the middle lane, we have NB on our Warlock, Raging Potato on the Storm Spirit, Miracle on the Drow Ranger, and finally we have Jules, who's going to be on the Support Disruptor. This is going to be rather interesting in terms of how they lane this. They will put Jabs in the middle lane here for Faceless, it seems, whereas Mineski, I'm wondering how the Storm Spirit will be dealing with Jabs, unless they change it up a little bit and possibly put Miracle in the middle lane instead. He's really not itemized to go middle though, so I'm expecting Miracle to just sit in the bottom lane to contest what could be... Is this an aggressive tri-lane maybe? It possibly could be, because Ice is shifting to the top lane. So they actually want to send this tri-lane into the bottom lane to not only harass with the PA, because they will have this mana sustain, they will be able to apply a lot of pressure onto Mineski, who won't have the same level of mana regen. And we're going to have a small skirmish here. We've got 3 of Faceless going up against 4 of Mineski. They will have enough coming in as well. The slow will be applied. Jab taking a lot of damage, but Raging Potato dropping even lower, will be going down to Black on that Phantom Assassin, and they also get the deny as well onto the TA, so they won't even kill her. Poor XY, they're being chased up. They've got nothing to kill him off with unless they can hit something else. They will get him with the last hit from Jules, and now they want to go for Black, who's trying to hide in the tree line. He wants to buy a TP. They do possibly have disables, but Black, he may just be dead here. They have it stun. They have it stun. They don't have the stun. It's too late. They don't get that stun off onto Black. He gets out home free, and they will be TPing RR into the top lane as that skirmish in the bottom lane happened a little bit too quickly. Oh, if they popped that stun in the fog, they may have been able to catch out Black, but... Oh, such an unfortunate cause here coming out for Mineski. It could have been better than this. So tri-lane versus tri-lane. I already spoke about this. The mana sustain is definitely going to go in favor of Faceless here. So for Mineski, they may have to play a little bit more cautiously. The one advantage that Mineski does have is that they have a tri-range lineup with a Drought Ranger aura to boot. So they will all be hitting a little bit harder than what these Faceless heroes will. So this might be some good news for Mineski if they can catch someone like Nuts out with the glimpse, but that's going to be a long time considering it's actually a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario. So we'll come back to this in a little bit. Looking at the mid lane here, we do have Raging Potato playing up against Jabs. CS is in favor of our Storm Spirit, so this is good news here for Mineski. At least Raging Potato has a chance, but he's got to be careful he doesn't get jabbed down by this TA. Like Jules just going to harass away that Ogre Miggy. Like up top, we have a bit of issues here with RR and Ice Ice Ice. Ice 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 is ahead in terms of CS, but this is to be expected for a Timbersword versus Slardar matchup. So RR may be struggling a little bit. The unfortunate thing is that RR will not be able to have any support backup just because they'll be so busy in that bottom lane. And this is the advantage of this tri-lane being thrown out by Faceless at the moment. Because they're applying so much pressure onto Miracle, they have to keep the supports down here just in case something goes wrong. And because they're so scared, they don't know where XY is. So he's actually going to try and go into the middle lane and go into Raging Potato. So all they have to do is throw for a stun and Jabs just punches him down. There's actually XY to get the final hit, but at the end of the day, they're killing off the Storm. Mineski supports that they are so spread thin because of this bottom lane, they really cannot help the other lanes. They can't even go out to buy a TP scroll. They may have seen the Ogre Magi mid, but do they maybe attempt to go for a kill here? Don't believe they have the skills to do so. There's level 2 onto Jules, but he's holding onto it in case the situation arises where he has to skill something twice. So he's just being very patient. Miracle is still farming. Same CS as Black, so this bottom lane, it's not a complete disaster zone here for Mineski. They are stabilizing a little bit. Because Faceless, because the Ogre Magi is left, Black is not feeling that safe with Nuts. Nuts is actually sitting right behind Black just so that he has a blink target in case anything goes wrong. It looks like the bottom lane has calmed down a little bit. I'm really surprised that Raging Potato is doing a very good job in terms of keeping up with CS against the TA. Done a really good job. Even though he's going into the jungle, he's making the best out of the situation. He's not falling behind the TA. Yes, he's giving the TA free farm in that middle lane, but I think at this point, if you're a Storm Spirit, you just want to guarantee that farm so that if anything goes wrong in that middle lane, at least you're not falling too far behind. Oh, minute sprint, end up taking a whole load of damage from Ice Ice Ice. Looks like they managed to get the rune here onto the NB, but Nuts and XY, they really want this Warlock, and he has support coming through. He will go for the heal. Jules is here, and they actually want to try and go for a kill onto XY. They will keep him at bay, but the PA coming in from the backside, but they might be able to kill XY in the meantime. Miracle's hitting him really hard, and all the supports are too, but they will go for a jump. They get the gust off, but Black kills off Miracle in the meantime. The glimpse will be there. Nuts is going to chase. He's got very low mana, but he's going to be a great target for Black to jump onto if necessary. They won't be able to get any more. Meantime, looks like Slardar did end up dying, and looks like Raging Potato was going to jump on by Jules, but didn't end up happening. So across the board, it ends up being 2 heroes dead, whereas there's only 1 dead for Faceless. And Crystal Maiden just denying herself the Roche to go back home. Gonna be picking up some items along the way. And because this lane is empty, Black is just gonna get some free farm down here. 18 CS compared to the 13 of Miracles. So this bottom lane it's actually not as bad as it looks. Because you have to remember that for Faceless to do this, they have a chance of hindering Black as PA. Yes, PA can fight a little bit sooner than a lot of other carries, but if you try and fight in a premature state, PA is actually very, very squishy. There are a lot of things on the side of Mineski that would pretty much delete a Phantom Assassin on the map. Her biggest weakness is still going to be magical damage, and we all know where some of that magical damage is going to be coming from. Raging Potato though, middle lane. XY did reveal himself in the middle lane as Raging Potato gets rid of that Observer Ward, so there's no more vision for Jabs. And it looks like they want to go for a bit of a chase here onto Black. They do have this Warlock chasing as well as Jules. They're looking for Nuts here. They managed to get the cage onto him, but they will throw a slow onto Ninja Booby. Oh god, here we go, Nuts. Rest in pieces, my friend. They tried to come in, but it was a little bit too late for XY. So they lose the Crystal Maiden, but Jules is setting right next to an invisibility rune. And bottom looks like that's going to be the key target here coming out from Faceless. So it could be in for a bit of a disaster zone as they pop down a sentry and they know where Jabs is now. They saw the invis, it's no longer a mystery. And they're going to try and go for a jump onto Miracle. Unfortunately, right under the tower with both of his supports. So this is going to be some wasted time by Jabs. Good news for Raging Potato, he got some free time in this middle lane. Actually, gonna go for a TP in the top lane. Ice is pretty low, and we have the zip available so here. Oh my god! Underestimating Ice. But Raging Potato, does he have the damage output to kill off this Timbersaw? He needs a little bit more. He's trying to bottle up, but oh, Ice. A little bit too hard, but the initial kill off that really hurt them. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, they're going to get the kill onto the Warlock. The damage distribution from the Fatal Bombs. Their Miracle might be able to kill a lot. He needs to hit them one more time. He just needs to hit Nuts. Got to one more kill. The Oracle, not the Oracle. The Ogre Magi is healing way too much. He won't run into Black. If he hit them a little bit sooner, they may have just been able to get the kill onto the Ogre, but for Miracle by himself, wasn't quite able to reach that point.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So while this Storm Spirit is going for a bit of a pull down here, he's got some nice creeps going his way. T8 is slowly starting to make a bit of a charge for this T1. And no one's sitting here, which is rather surprising for Mineski. In most games that I've seen, they are very disciplined in terms of distributing the lane EXP, but they may have had to change it up a little bit just because they're maybe a bit too scared of leaving any of the supports near Jabs. This is a TA that's level 6. It's a whole lot harder than you would have expected from most heroes and really do the damage.
A soldier's fortune.
It's like that did end up being cleared out by the storm, so let's take a look at the net worth for both sides as we have the TA currently leading with 4.2k gold. We may have a smoke coming on through here by Faceless as they're going to look for Miracle, who's right next to the tree line. They boosted Jabs and Jules. They go for the Gust instant TP. They won't get her out. Gets bitten by Nuts, and now it's also going to be another kill onto Jules. Rest in peace, Mineski. As Faceless being very disciplined in getting these ganks off and punishing these squishier heroes on Mineski.
Dire's middle tower
Might be a bit of a difficult game here for Mineski if they keep this up. They can't really afford to let Faceless take control of the game. We've all seen what happens if Faceless takes the game by the horns of the bull, because if they manage to get a hold of the game and they have some sort of advantage, more or less they keep that advantage. There have been very few situations where they lose, and it looks like they will finally kill off Ice. He's going to be alive for a little bit longer. They're going to keep on chasing, but he's healing so much. He finally goes down, but Nuts about trying to go for more, but he doesn't have enough support. Black is coming in, looking to go for a dagger. There's no mana on Potato. Potato zips for a tiny bit forward, but there's going to be another dagger in a moment, and that's going to be a crit as well. Guaranteed kill there for Black. Getting very lucky with the RNG, and they're going to be looking for more. This is poor Warlock. He's trying to run away, but when you're moving that slowly, you know death is coming for you, and that's another kill going in the way of Faceless. And this is Black contributing. This is him just throwing out the daggers. Mana pretty much on an infinite level because of this Crystal Maiden, and Mineski are just being ripped to shreds at this point. I'm very concerned here for Mineski because they don't have a proper tempo controller. Faceless does. Faceless has the TA that comes online at a reasonable time when it comes to transitioning during the mid-game, whereas Mineski, they have Storm as well as their Slaughter, but I'm a little bit afraid that they're going to keep on going after Black. I'm going to hold my thoughts here as they really want to kill this PA just a little bit more. They need one more hit, and that looks like Black will finally go down. Mega kill streak in favor of Raging Potato on that Storm Spirit, and they finally get their revenge. Oh dear. There are a lot of fights for 10 minutes into the game, folks, so if I'm a little bit slow, please bear with me. Oh my goodness, look at that gold. Just from one simple PA kill. But, in defense, Black did get a whole bunch of kills before he died. 5 of them to be exact. But Mineski, they don't have a proper tempo controller such as Faceless. TA normally comes online at a reasonable time. RR actually is playing a very big role when it comes to tempo controlling because they need the minus armor. Interesting that they didn't decide to commit onto the stuff, but they may have been a little bit worried about potential backup, because if you look at the map here for Faceless, Faceless vision so far, they only see one, which is the Jules in the middle lane. So they have no idea where the rest of Mineski is. Whereas you take a look at the vision for Mineski, they're actually pretty blind as well. They saw two Ice here, as well as seeing Nuts coming in from the jungle. They do know what's up, and they will be smoking up to try and go for a kill. They may run into Nuts, they may run into Ice instead, but looks like Nuts gonna run right into Raging Potato. The pull's gonna be there, and this will be a kill going into Miracle's pockets. And they're gonna be looking for more as Ice needs to try and zip on out of here, but no commitment from Mineski as they thought about chasing. They're not gonna commit 100%. And you can already tell as well, because Mineski are running this slaughter, Roshan is going to be a key factor in Mineski's success for their draft. So they need to find an opening, kill one or two of Faceless's hero, maybe even take this bottom T1 and bottom T2 tower down first, before they commit for that Roche, because they can't really afford the TPs to fly through here for Faceless. Faceless, they're a team that's very, very disciplined when it comes to reinforcement, so they might just have to wait for that for now. Whereas if you look at Mineski, they actually have all of their reinforcement towers down, so maybe it could be Faceless themselves to take it. They have the TA for some minus armor, so they maybe grab any more minus armor. It might just have to be after the potential blink for Jabs, because you could tell Jabs, he wants to grab that blink first, if anything. Oh, he has the blink. I'm blind. Instead, they're going to reinforce in the bottom lane. They grab a kill onto Ice, and Cisco is going to go down. The Warlock Golem's there, but Jabs is going to kill it in no time. XY chasing after Miracle, is trying to go for a bit of a TP. They got nothing to cancel this, so that he will be able to get him home safe and sound. But everyone else is now on the retreat. Warlock is trying to juke around Black, but Potato's here, RR is here. There's no blink on the starter. They get the crush onto Black, but they may have to retreat now. They're going for the turn. Raging Potato wants Black. The Crystal Maiden almost kills off Raging Potato. He's going to be able to zip out with a little bit of extra mana. But this starter may be doomed here and is being slowed by the Crystal Maiden, slowed by Jabs, chased by an Ogre, and he is melting. Turned into a fish stew. They did lose Black. So that was a pretty big area lost on the side of Faceless, but they did grab some 2 consolation kills. I will still say this was in favor of Mineski because they did grab Ice before that engagement fully took place. And the gold in favor of Mineski. They lost the Disruptor as well as the Warlock, but it's still the 2 major cores for Faceless. Roche is being taken down here by Faceless. Not the fastest, but with Black coming in here, it doesn't really look like Mineski know this is happening. And even if they do, I think it may be too late for them to even think about contesting this. So this Roche practically gone at this point. I wonder if he has some medallion. Is it Black? Oh no, it's probably just the minus armor cutting out from TA. Or maybe someone has a medallion, who knows. It's all good, folks. They managed to take the Roshan down regardless. So, Mineski, they've got to be wary now because you know Faceless, when they have that Aegis, they will be looking to make those aggressive plays to seize control. One person we haven't really spoken about at all has been Ice. He's been really quiet this game. He hasn't really contributed too much to the team outside of securing that top lane and building his way towards the Bloodstone. But he has been very, very quiet, not even participating in team kills. Typically, he's always the target of the team fighting. I guess that may be the case. He hasn't really been doing too much. It's mostly been the help of Black, Nuts, and XY doing a lot of the work, with Jabs coming in from the back sometimes. Take a look at item progression for both sides, folks. We have a Dragonlance finished up here onto Miracle, as well as a 4-star coming up soon. So this Hurricane Pike will be making its way to Miracle's inventory very, very soon. He is actually rushing it. Like that's how much he wants this item. He wants the stats. He wants to have the 4-star effect. He wants to be able to kite. And this is really the right play coming out from Miracle. Bloodstone done on our Storm Spirit, so Raging Potato will be looking to try and get those charges up. Looks like he wants to go for XY, but is his team nearby? Very ballsy play to be going into the tree line when there's actually 3 behind here. Instantly TP's out. He says, I don't want anything to do with this. Bloodstone completed here onto the Timber Saw, so he's going to be able to start stacking up those mana charges. I'm wondering what the plan is for Faceless now. If they want to continue on farming, or if they want to sort of speed it up a little bit and start taking more objectives. They've got the Deso finished up onto Jab, so Blink Deso done 16 minutes in. You've got Black looking to finish up his own Deso very soon, I believe, unless he wants to make the BKB first. At this point, you just want to go for something to give damage. Because as is, Black, yeah, to a certain degree, he can be a little bit squishy, but he never goes into the fights first. Or he should never go into the fights first regardless. So I believe he should be okay for the most part. Looks like for now, it's just going to be Mineski slowly farming away. Mineski at this point is just waiting for Faceless. And it looks like it is going to end up being the Deso. Deso completed. Looks like middle lane. Jabs jumped right on top of that Stormtrooper with the Deso. 2 hits and oh god, they walked right out. Oh, Raging Potato made a terrible mistake. Tried to fight Jabs, but look at Miracle doing lots and lots of work. They do manage to kill him off in the meantime. They throw the rock off the 2. Ice as well as nuts. Tied by Fatal Bombs, they will kill off this Golem. And if it never existed, free 100 gold, and they have the Deso completed now onto Black. They get the dagger off the Miracle. Miracle hit with one crit. Force buffed out of there. He needs to stay away from them. Beautiful cross coming out from Asfala. Tipping forward the Stormtrooper, trying to go for a kill here onto Restaurant Maiden, but they lose. Miracle. Black will go down in the meantime though. Ice trying to go for a turn to crush onto 2. They need to kill him off if possible. Ice is very tanky. There's no mana left on the Raging Potato. The stun. XY can't get him. Ice is very low. I do see him with the minus armor. Needs to back off. He gets shredded. And it ends up being 2 heroes up and oh, the zip out. So close. Almost losing Raging Potato. They're looking for jewels, but Ice is tanking tower shots. The minus armor. Ice has he overextended? He has. Gets pulled back. Loses more bloodstone charges. Now Ice, XI, they're not going to go down. There's actually Glimpse now. He had enough for Glimpse. Oh, Jules coming out with the plays. They will be getting XY. Does this end up being a team wipe on the side of Faceless? It has. They've lost practically everybody in that team fight. Oh my goodness, that was absolutely insane. The only real survivor ended up being Jules on the Disruptor. He has 2k gold at the end of that engagement. Even the Storm has a sizable gold piece in his pocket. So for Faceless, they give 2.7k gold away. That is absolutely insane. That current gold. Jules is probably thinking, did I get a promotion? Did I just get promoted to CEO of Mineski? Oh my god. Actually wondering what's going to be coming out of these inventories now. As you saw, Hurricane Pike was used by Miracle. He did survive for half the fight, but he ended up going down. Still coming out of it okay though. I actually want to see these Bloodstone charges. We did end up seeing Raging Potato ends up with 13 Bloodstone charges at the end of the fight, so this was reasonable for him. Ice in the meantime, he came out of it with 10 because he did end up dying. So he's back down to square one and Raging Potato... Raging Potato trying to dance with death. This guy's mental. Take a look at the grass as well after that fight, folks. The XP still relatively close, 3k, so it's not too far away, whereas you take a look at gold. Not too bad. Still a sizable net worth advantage to Faceless, but it's really not that bad. One team fight would be able to swing the game on top of its head. This is a rune that you love if you're a Templar Assassin. Find any supports, rip. Easy kills. So he's gonna pop the fraction. Gonna go forward, kill off these creeps, and probably just gonna keep on farming at this point. Black, sitting on 2k gold. I'm assuming it's gonna be the Abyssal Blade after this. Bash her into Abyssal. Needs to start building up into that strength, and the Abyssal Stun is going to be immensely useful, especially when it comes to locking down Raging Potato. There's the one thing we need to also remember is that looking at Faceless's draft, they do not have the best heroes to lock down a Storm. The cast time on the Ogre Stun is a little bit too long, and Restaurant Maiden Stun, not even a stun, not really.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So it looks like they will be going for a little deep ward and not feeling too safe around here, especially with the double damage T8. You do not want to be anywhere near this area. It looks like Faceless are just more or less going to keep control on the jungle and may want to get out of here if anything. There are way too many heroes here for Faceless, whereas you look at where everyone is for Mineski. Miracle's up in the top lane, farming away, actually trying to push the creep wave and maybe try and take the T2 while the rest of the team is here. Zip in again, they get the stun off and Raging Potato. So zip on out and they actually get the force back on the TA. Silence as well, she's caged in with the Warlock Golem. Zip in and they kill her off really quick. XY is looking for a stun, gets it off onto the Miracle. Black though, he's hesitant, he does not want to go into the middle of the fight. They've lost one already, they're on the chase, the crush on the two, Ogre and Black. Isis though, he will act as the Great Wall of China to keep Mineski at bay. And Faceless looks like they will be able to retreat successfully. Oh, unless they lose one anyway. Poor Nuts going the wrong way. Killed off by Potato. The Potato is low on mana. They will still hesitate. He has backup behind him, so for Faceless, they just let Nuts go. And Mineski gonna be happy with, again, getting 2 kills, beautiful execution, using the Warlock Golem to keep the T8 in place to follow up with Jules' combo. Mineski, they're getting really good at cashing out Faceless, and Faceless, they've got to sort of step it up a little bit. Can't afford to lose their cause like that. Taking a look at item progression again, Lotus Orb is completed on Ice, so this is going to be a pretty good item at sending back a couple of pretty good spells, going for, especially if you manage to get the pullback on the Storm, if you can Lotus while he goes for the Vortex, that may just screw the Storm Spirit over, because the duration of that Vortex is enough for Black to potentially kill him with a couple of hits. So Ice, if he can get on top of him with the Lotus Orb, that could pretty much screw over Raging Potato. Outside of that though, no real other progression. BKB coming up soon for Black, I believe. I'm not sure, I think he's just waiting for the Ogre Club and then he'll have that BKB. So Black just wants to guarantee that he's going to be able to really get in there without any much trouble for Mineski. So Black will spend some time farming up that BKB. He needs that magic immunity. Jab's running into RR, getting hit with the amplify damage. Team, they know that Mineski's around here. They're all grouping up into the top lane. Gonna buff up Jabs as well. And Nuts may run into some trouble. Oh, Nuts. His Nuts been cracked. Rest in pieces. That's gonna be the end of that Crystal Maiden. Dying so quickly. No protection. He just wanted to put a ward down, man. Come on. He's a Crystal Maiden. He's got no way to escape. You get green boots. Green boots are crap. Miracle in the meantime, he's just going to keep on farming this ancient stack. And I think Faceless, they've actually been a little bit worried about the previous engagements. They have the BKB completed onto Black. It's just being delivered on the courier right now, whereas Ice looks like he did have a bit of a dance. Raging Potato, everyone coming out of it in a tango, and looks like gonna have to sprint away from the middle as there are 2 really big heroes here. And it looks like it's going to be Roshan coming up soon. You can tell all the traps, they're really waiting for that. They get the guts on the Ice Slicer with Miracle here. This is going to be a very good... No, they don't get the Tempest Sword, the Hurricane Pike, not enough to save the Drow. That's going to be Mineski on the one to run, as they couldn't kill him off the top, but the beautiful combo! Again! The support from Mineski! Although they might be losing too much in their bargain for Nuts in the backlines with the Blizzard. Unable to cancel any of that out. That's 3 heroes dead from Mineski. They still have Raging Potato, but his mana, they can't regen in time. He will die to Black with the ultra kill. Oh, Mineski. They may have bitten more than they bargained for. Ice really flexes muscles there, showing off that armor is king, and especially with a teammate behind them. This guarantees Roche, and they see this Roche up right now. So for Faceless, this is going to be a free one. Mineski, got to be hitting their heads on the table now thinking, what in the world have we done? That was such a terrible engagement, and just when things were starting to look up for Mineski, it's going all the way back down the Faceless. Oh dear. Boots of Travel's now picked up onto the Timber Saw, so Ice can practically be anywhere around the map. Boots of Travel's in. Now Mineski, they've got other issues. They have to think, how do we kill Black twice when one of them's gonna have BKB? How do they kill Black and Templar Assassin? A lot of things to be worried about, and if you're Mineski, this might just be too much for them to ask for. Still trying to build up into that 4 stuff, and I'm really concerned here, just because we can already see from the net worth the huge discrepancy. It's really starting to show. Yes, Potato is on top, but then followed is all 3 cores on Faceless. Poor Miracle sitting at only 10k net worth. That is not the place to be if you're a Drow. Miracle's gonna need a lot of help to come back, and if not help, he's gonna need a lot of farm before he's able to really contest the cores on the side of Faceless. As Black at this point is able to just rip Miracle to shreds. So can Jabs. Jabs can just stand right in front of Miracle, and unfortunately because Miracle's attack speed isn't that fast enough, he can't quite kill the refraction charges quick enough to feel comfortable killing off the TA. So for Miracle, he's got a lot ahead of him, so he may need some time to recover. Can his team give him time to recover though? I think that's the biggest question. Like, do they have enough space to give to Miracle, or do they have Raging Potato carry for the most part, and hopefully have Miracle tail? Oh, that's going to be a really bad smoke. It's going to force up onto the high ground. The smoke, not even smoke, it's just dusted. They don't even need anything. And they've already lost him. Oh, they're going to lose another one. He just wanted to TP home. That's the Warlock down with no buyback. Oh, Faceless getting 2 great kills, and this Aegis possibly considering this middle tower now. I think Mineski, they may have started to fall apart now, because their team just cannot line up against Faceless anymore. Ice taking the tower shots with the backdoor regen. They're trying to get through it, but might be a little bit slow. They will actually just start backdooring. Backdoor does get cancelled in the meantime, and Mineski, it's going to be one hell of a fight if anything. If they can win this through though, this could be some good news. They're going to go straight for the full on to the PA. They want to try and pop this BKB, but oh, that's harder. Died so quick. They're also going to lose the Disruptor. They didn't even get a chance to throw the combo down, and they're even going to try and go for Potato. He needs to get out. He gets bashed. He gets bashed. That was so close. And I think Faceless may be just too strong of a team, possibly going to overpower Mineski. Comes in. They do break the Aegis, but their Rax is under siege. The Gust is thrown out. Miracle is here, but he needs to be careful. They get the Rax though after, and Faceless, they just walk on out of there. They got what they wanted. And for Mineski, they suffered casualties, but the biggest loss was this Rax. So now they're going to have to consistently worry about this middle lane pushing. Not going to feel too comfortable about pushing out into the base anymore. They still need to secure this farm onto Miracle. I guess the good news is that Miracle will be able to farm the middle lane a little bit more reliably, just because it will be pushing in, but oh, Miracle, he needs a lot. Because at this point, he's just a sitting duck. He's going to need something such as a Ghost Scepter even to get rid of the Faceless physical DPS. It's just the PA and the Templar Assassin. It's too much of a problem. They will try and go for a kill here onto Ice. His team is coming. They can't kill him. He gets the Nigh off. They will be losing the Warlock in the backline. They also lose the Slaughter. And there is no mana left here onto Raging Potato. Trying to heal up. They will send Black back. And nice TP from Raging Potato. They will not lose him. Duels will scuffle away. But again, it's 2 heroes to fall for Mineski. They get Ice, but I think this might just be game here. Mineski, his high ground defense, they need that Warlock ult so bad, but this is the second defense that they won't have the Warlock. And in terms of buyback status, it's really not looking too good. They get the silence off on the Jules, they catch up to TA, Raging Potato trying to burst him down the slot. They will get the stun off with XY. He has to zip out straight away. Drow is back, but it looks like they may just have to give this away again. There is no way they can protect Miracle from Black. They will zip in again. Can't afford to be caught out. He's playing it really safe to just take some damage. They throw the rocks down, and looks like everyone on Faceless, they're going to start to slowly back on out. The caution's there. They're going to try and get some kills while they're trying to retreat. They're throwing the slows with the upheaval, the pole. They're trying to kill Crystal Maiden, but she just Ghost Scepters. Now Ice from the tail end. Nuts will go down, does not get the stun off. Actually, he did, but Raging Potato is still chasing. He's still low on mana. 15 Bloodstone charges apparently is not enough. Their middle Rax is going down. Oh no! They use the Rax. They can't find Black. Black out-juked them. Oh no, Mineski, they just can't find him. could not find that big kill, and even Jabs is hidden in the tree line. This chase just can't find him. Mineski, they're so desperate, they're going behind me too. The courier is here. Oh my goodness. Raging Potato, walking around hasted, he's gonna farm in the enemy jungle, but this is the second lane of Raxus. One more push coming out from Faceless, and if they can't defend it, I think that just might be game here for Mineski. It really is not looking that good for the squad.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So Ice. He's so tanky now. I feel like the downfall for Mineski has been that every single time they try to kill Ice, it's been a huge mistake. He has so much armor, he's so difficult to kill that it's just not worth it. They instantly TP out. They don't even want to kill the Timbersaw anymore. Buybacks is really looking really dire here for Mineski. They're under the mercy of Faceless. Best way to put this is it's Faceless's game to lose. Their execution has been on point, and I think the biggest turning point was when they won that one team fight before securing Roche. That was the big turnaround there for Faceless, when it was actually Faceless under the mercy of Mineski for a little bit, but after that, their farm just escalated to a completely new level. We're all gonna smoke up. They need to find something worthwhile. They can't afford to go on Ice again. He has been such a nuisance for Mineski. They need to go on someone else instead. They will show the Storm Spirit in the middle lane, but the rest of his team, though, they're still sticking around. But look at Faceless. They are cuddled up together as well. They're ready. They're thinking that something's happening, so they're going to send Black. They're using him as bait. Who takes the bait? It's not going to be Mineski, I believe. They're going to back up, because they probably know something's happening as well. So everyone is now on the retreat, because they see Miracle. They see Miracle with this Observer Ward, but they can't get him. Shadowblade TP, it's gonna be okay. Well, they're Raging Potatoes right next to Ice. Graphs again, it's just spiraling out of control now. Faceless developing such a huge lead. Items wise, 2 BKBs, both on the carries on Faceless. Ghost Scepter on the supports, tanky Timbersaw. Greaves on the Ogre, and then you make the comparison on the supports on the side of Mineski. This is not to say that they are poor. There's actually a lot of farm on this Disruptor. I actually think if Jules is able to get a successful Static Storm off onto these Faceless heroes before they pop the BKBs, it could be a massive turn, but they need the setup there from their Warlock. They need the combo. Get the crush, they throw the silent pistols on the Timbersaw though, so they get the kill onto Ice, but now they're in trouble. Here comes the support, and they lose Miracle and the Warlock right off the bat. Raging Potato instantly zipping on out of there. They lose their Slardar. They've got 3 left, but now they have a Warlock ult still, but there is no Static Storm. That is such an important skill. Oh dear, buyback coming out from Miracle. This is going to be the ultimate defense. They really want to go onto Black first, but they get the BKB off. He's going to live by just a small margin. He's going to be okay. He will be leaving. He's taking all this damage from the damage distribution. They need a little bit more. If they can kill off Nuts, they will be killing off Black. Yeah, just to get that off, so he's going to be okay. But the rest of his team's not looking too healthy, as Nuts will be losing his life. They get him. They don't get either of the major cores, Jabs or Black. Mineski, it's a successful defense regardless, and that was just without the ult from Jules. So for them to manage just a successful defense like that, this is really good news for Mineski. Just catching Faceless off guard, showing them that even though you have BKBs, if they have the element of surprise and drop their heroes down low enough, that will force them back. For Black though, his solution at this point will be just lifesteal. Once Black gets lifesteal or some sort of HP regen, he will be good to go to re-engage in these fights. If he had lifesteal there, I would have assumed that Black may have re-engaged to try and go for a crit lifesteal. But because he doesn't have it yet, he had to play a little bit more safely. And also was worried about the Fatal Bonds. Let's not forget guys, Fatal Bonds, especially during the late game, really hurt, especially when you have some tanky heroes out there absorbing a lot of damage. So what almost looked like a disaster ended up being one more hold for Mineski. But I will say this, one more mistake from Mineski and it might just cost them the game. If you look at their buybacks, there is no mercy here. Absolutely zero mercy, and they might just lose the Slardar right off the bat. They insta-zip the Stormlord out of there, but they're gonna lose their Warlock again. The Guts from Miracle. Miracle has to get out. Miracle has to get on out of there. They lost 2. Oh no, Raging Potato, he's slowed up. Miracle has to try and go for Shadow Blade on out of there. They're gonna keep on looking. They're looking for Jules. They need to split. They need to make sure they can't find Miracle. Keep the Drow Ranger, he's going to be okay. Delta split from Mineski works this time, but I don't know if it's going to work anytime soon because it did fend them off that Roshan. And it's going to be, again, another Rosh going in the way of Faceless. The same scenario is going to happen now. They need to kill Black twice. And that is going to be a very, very difficult feat. Cheese on the Templar Assassin, so both of the cores technically have a Cinderella life. TA can pop the cheese whenever necessary. I am so afraid here for Mineski. They are holding on to game of their life, whereas for Faceless, this is looking really, really good. They've got control. They've practically got Mineski in a stranglehold, and that doesn't look like they're going to let them go anytime soon. So again, the supporting duo here for Mineski. They have to play such an important role. They need the rock and they need the static storm to land together. Get both to land, that will prevent the items from coming online. But the support, they've got to be so careful. Look at RR, that is their initiator that took 1 dagger hit from the Slardar. 1 dagger hit. You can tell, Faceless, they are itching to go high ground. They are so ready. Whereas for Mineski, they're split apart all across the map. They're trying to defend bottom. It will start pushing in. They're trying to defend middle. And they also have to defend top. So who are they going to send in first? ISSI is going to be sending in the Shark from God. They get the pull off, but they don't get that off in perfect timing. But here we go. The jump in there. They do get the rock in the meantime onto 3. They don't get the static storm. They didn't get it. Where is Jules? Jules is hiding behind tower. They've lost 2 already. Oh, they did not get the storm off. They will finally get it onto all 4s. Faceless at the mercy of Mineski. They have lost 3 heroes. Jules coming in with the plays, but the beacon, they have come back here with Black. It just has been used. They have the buyback on Jabs as well. Oh, Raging Potato is in trouble. He's got no mana. He has to buy back. They glimpse back Jabs as well. He's going to have to run all the way back into the fight. Now it's going to be Faceless on the retreat. They really want Black. They really want Black. Oh, they get the stun. They get another stun. They need to kill the TA. They finally get him now as ISSI is completely isolated. And Mineski, they really want this chase. They have a glimpse available. They're going to send him all the way back to base. And they don't get the crush off in time. He's still running. ISSI is still healing. And Jabs, he's coming back into the fray. This could be problematic now because has to be on the run. He has to force stuff out of there. But that was one hell of a defense coming up from Mineski. And that was simply because they got the static storm off with Jules. If anything, that was a play from Jules. That saved them their base. They did not get that off. That would have more or less been the game for Mineski. Oh goodness, that was super close. Closer than you would have ever expected. So there's still one more chance in the bag here for Mineski, but oh my god, that was one hell of a defense. Just remember though, cheese is still up for Jabs. Aegis has been used, which is the good news, but still, it's a cheese. So for Mineski, since that team fight, has there been any progression on their carries? What is coming on the courier? Is there really nothing left onto Miracle? Has he really got no gold? Oh, Miracle. Miracle, Miracle, Miracle. He is looking so poor for a Drow. He's giving an extra 73 damage, but 40 minutes into the game, you would have expected Miracle to have a little bit more than this. But for him to be sitting with this little farm, you know your Drow is really not having a good game. It's been more or less Raging Potato keeping the game for Mineski along with the help of both NB and Jules. So for Faceless, they honestly can go back to square one. They can keep farming, they can keep waiting, and they can wait for the Aegis, which will, again, we'll see the timer in a little bit. They've got three psionic traps. I'm actually wondering if Faceless is supposed to do something with that. I guess it's just for the extra slows in case Mineski ever goes in. No detection. Just having the triple slow means that they would get the guaranteed slows. Mineski may have to go for another defense because Faceless, they're coming in for another possible push in this top lane. They've got everyone here. The cheese is on Jabs. Black, he has a 5-second BKB, so this is not a very long BKB charge. Jules, again, may have to wax a miracle here with that silence.
Invisibility.
Safest play here for Mineski would be just to sit in their own base. They need to just wait. They have to wait till the high ground comes in from Faceless, and then they'll possibly make their move. It's just so unfortunate though. If you're Mineski, you can tell that they're itching to go outside, but if they show their Faceless outside, they will be converted to a Faceless. So the Storm just gonna zip out, back into the base, just to check things out, and they do know that there are heroes nearby. Faceless, just taking their sweet time, waiting for the creeps. They're gonna push middle, and oh, Black Abyssal blade at the Warlock! Oh no, that's gonna be no Warlock on again! Oh, they need to be so careful about that. They even have a ward here, but it just looks like they just weren't ready for it. I believe it was Invis too. So another high ground defense. This is gonna be a hard one from Mineski. Their last set of Raxes. If they lose it here, this is going to be mega creeps going in the way of Faceless, and that's really where you want to be if you're Faceless. Raging Potato, just going to keep the middle creeps at bay. Black coming forward, they get a 2-man crush, silence as well, straight onto Black. This PA gonna have to man fight the Storm Spirit, but they're going to try and force him down. They get a beautiful off of the Crystal Maiden, but they lost Black right off the bat. Raging Potato gets stunned up, he needs to back up, he needs to zip, he dies! He has no buyback for 60 seconds, now Miracle is by himself. This may just be it for the Mineski, as they have lost their Storm Spirit. Miracle fighting inside the base. These Raxes, they're not going to kill themselves. Faceless, they've got to go back to the Raxes if anything. They kill off Miracle in his base. Jabs kept in place by Jules. Ninja Boogie is here. I throw the rock onto 4. This is one rock. They just eat the cheese with Jabs. This may just be it. All 3 quarts Mineski are dead, and Faceless looks like they're going to take this whole thing in a clean sweep. Nothing left in the tank for Mineski as they haplessly sit in their own fountain. Ice just standing in front of the support saying, "Hit me! Hit me!" The support can't do anything. The Raxes are gone. This might just be the last hurrah. There won't be a last hurrah as the GG will be called up by Mineski. Faceless, the Titans of the round robin stage will end their round robin with an 8-0 win streak of the groups. Whereas Mineski, they're unfortunately going to have their first loss out of all the games. Oh my goodness, folks, that was one hell of a series. It looked at some point like Mineski may have potentially made a comeback, but unfortunately Miracle, he reached the point of no return on that Drow Ranger. He just could not come back in terms of farm. He was half the net